What's the after effects? What's actually the after effects of it? Is it good? Is it bad? The after effects is for like 2 to 3 days afterwards. Your brain is still geared towards good morning. Today we're going to talk about something which I do not condone. And before I even get into what I'm going to say, I don't condone it. In many places, majority of places, it's illegal. Really, no one should be doing it. It's caused wars, it's called famine, and it's called fire. We're going to talk about white snow, the Colombian coffee, if that makes sense. It's one of the most used and not really abused, but one of the biggest things that is pictured in society as this thing which is cool or suave or I'm a gangster or whatever it is. And last night we may or may not have had some debauchery, and that may or may not be continuing today. But I have a very specific and strict view on what it does, what it isn't doing. This is not a recommendation. And obviously, the healthier you are, the better you are. Be healthier, be better. Everything you do, if you have a drink of alcohol, it's better not to have a drink of alcohol. If there's white stuff, it's better not to have the white stuff. If there's green stuff, it's better not to have the green stuff. But now that I've found out as well that I have this ADHD basically baseline, it's interesting because all substances and things don't actually affect me as they do for normal people. For most people, it hypes them up, where for me, it just brings my dopamine back to sort of a normalish level, but at the same time robs me of my pizzazz. So it actually makes me quiet, which is interesting. I just thought, I didn't know what I thought. I just didn't know. It's not something I indulge in often. This thing is a very simple drug because it really operates only on dopamine. Dopamine is what motivation is. So there's lots of theories, there's lots of science, there's people saying, no, this is what it is, this is what it's measured. So people used to think that dopamine was a thing which, once you got to the end goal, you will release this big chemical dump of dopamine and it made you feel good. What they've recently realized is dopamine is the motivation chemical. So if you and I do not have any dopamine at all, we will not even get out of bed. We will not go and try and use energy, use any calories. We won't have anything in us to go do anything. So when you're hungry or when you're trying to chase down a goal, actually a little bit of dopamine is produced to be like, come on, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. You can go, right? So it gives you a bit of dopamine, and then it encourages you to action further, and saying that if you keep going further, you might get some more dopamine. While you're reading a textbook, you keep reading it, you're bored, then suddenly you see something and, that's quite interesting. Gives you a bit of dopamine. It keeps you motivated to go forward. So this specific substance, all it does is how I like to describe it, is it's just dopamine in a powdered form. So you have it gives you the dopamine, but dopamine itself is just like an edgy chase, right? Dopamine is I want to go do something. And do you know what people end up doing? They go do more of the white stuff because I'm going to go do more of the more stuff, and then I go and get the thing, the dopamine. So the whole experience is just like this, a little bit anxious, I just want more of the dopamine, but I now know that the dopamine is gettable from this powder, meaning I don't have to go anywhere else. I don't have to do anything hard. I don't have to read a book. I don't have to exercise. I don't have to do anything else. So eventually my brain becomes hardwired to only seek dopamine from here, and the things that take a lot of effort or more effort, my brain stops remembering that it even provides dopamine and just gears me towards just go there. And that's majority of the experience for everybody, right? And obviously it's a great substance to sell if you think about it. That's why it has become on the, on the black market, and that's why lots of criminals and all of this do it, because once people have it, they want more of it. Same as what they do in food, not very dissimilar. So food and processed food, they try and process it so much that when you have that first chip, you're like, that was so good, I want the next one. So they're hardwiring to very similar systems. But with food, you don't get anxious. I mean, you kind of do, for me, if you have sugar and then you have a sugar crash. So point is you have this evening, right? And then you wake up the next day, which is, today. And because my brain still remembers that the dopamine there is like close, I am more hardwired to go chase that dopamine. So today I was like, you know what? Today I'm gonna have a relaxed day. Today there's gonna be a bit of debauchery, but we're not gonna do all that exercise. I'm gonna chill back because I deserve it. And at least I'm aware to my bullshit and that a substance is doing this, right? So I've still made it okay for that to happen, but tomorrow that's not going to do okay, and I've still done my work, and I'm still here filming, and I still want to share this with you. It's quite a vulnerable share because this is like behind the scenes, people don't know. So that's kind of what it is. What's the after effects? What's actually the after effects of it? Is it good? Is it bad? The after effects is for like 2 to 3 days afterwards. Your brain is still geared towards easier dopamine. So things which you had to work for before to get your dopamine and your motivation seem like more of a drag. It's just harder to do. It's lazier to do. So for a lot of times, I will, if I'm ever drinking on an evening, if there's ever something happen, what I'll do is I'll create a list or a mandatory list beforehand of what I know that I must do the next 3 to 4 days. So even as I clean out my system and my brain cleans out, I still just continue following my list and doing exactly what's necessary. So then when that list is done, I was like, right, well, I wasn't really motivated, but I still got it all done. And by then, I've rehooked my dopamine system into the new thing that I'm doing. And look, you may think this might be about substances, but really, it's about being able to direct your own brain as well. So I need to take my dopamine, the thing that motivates me, and I need to make sure that that hook is correct. Like, is it hooked onto TikTok videos? Is it hooked onto playing video games? Is it hooked onto sugar? So when we unhook from sugar, it's gonna feel really painful, and you're not gonna wanna eat the chicken. You're not gonna wanna do the exercise because it's like, I have to really work for that. And we think that it's us. No, it's this chemical. So just still keep the hook out, take that hook, put it back in, but don't expect it to make you feel good yet. You're not gonna feel good eating the chicken first. You're not gonna feel great exercising the first day. But a couple of days in, you start getting a bit like almost in a pattern, and you're like, that's where the dopamine is. And you go, more dopamine, boom. More dopamine, boom. More dopamine, boom. And that's how you do it. So I think over time, for my brain, even before learning literally days ago what I think I may have been struggling with for a lot of my life, I use substances or discovery in my own brain to see how my brain operates and how motivation changes, how happiness changes, how energy changes. So I've spent an obsessive amount of time, doing a thing, or even being with lots of friends, thousands of people, and then seeing the immediate effects outside of the actual noise, outside of what we say, but what does it actually do? So, there's things to definitely stay away from. There's things that aren't great but are recoverable from. And there's things that are therapeutic and should be taken with caution, but shouldn't be treated as like a party, but it could be really useful. And throughout this, I'll release a lot to you, but that's how it is. How does that affect diet and stuff? Well, if you drink alcohol, no good. It doesn't produce protein. If for every standard drink, your liver basically shuts off and is trying to process the poison and is not processing protein, is not trying to maximize muscle growth or trying to, lose weight. So if you had 2 drinks for 2 hours, you'd be off. With substances like this, well, it causes your muscles not to fire as well because it depletes you of a lot of electrolytes. So I'll need to replenish electrolytes, vitamins, etc. But look, this is a lesson for another day. Point is with everything that we do, there's a negative, or if we do something positive, there's usually a negative reaction. If we do something negative, there's a positive reaction. And the main mental model, I'm a bit scrambled today. The main mental model that I want to say is your dopamine, your motivation chemical, isn't the chemical that's given to you at the end of completing your goal. Motivation is released as you're completing a task worthy of good. So it is important to know where you personally choose to hook your dopamine to. It could be to women, it could be to men, it could be to exercise, it could be to running, it could be to, sometimes my partner has attached her dopamine to running once, and it was the first time that she began running, and she attached it so hard, she started running 2-3 times a day until her legs started bleeding. So it's important to be in control of your own dopamine, not necessarily in control of yourself, because your dopamine will take care of your motivation. It'll take care of your chase. What you do need to be is you need to be the fisherman or the fisherwoman. You need to know where to send that hook. And if you've hooked into something like a log or a PlayStation or a white substance, you need to be like, whoa, I'm reeling it back. I know I've got no fish and I feel weird now because it's not attached to anything, but I'm going to attach it to something better. I'm going to throw my fishing rod there because I know that once I hook a fish there, that's going to be way more edible, way better for my life and achieve my dreams and goals. Hope you're doing well. Today was a bit an off-kilter one, but ladies and gentlemen, what else did you expect? Peace.